Law enforcement officials now say that car theft in Canada has become so profitable, it's being used to fund international crime. Interpol reporting Canada is one of the largest sources of stolen cars on the global black market, and it's reportedly being used to fund human trafficking, arms deals, and even terrorism. Peter Edwards is an author and a crime reporter with the Toronto Star. He has taken a closer look at this growing issue. He is our guest this morning. Welcome.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Let's give everybody the numbers. There was a 10% increase in car theft across Canada. That's in 2022, 10%. That includes roughly 50% increase in Ontario and Quebec. It is now a $1 billion a year industry. That's according to the Canadian Finance and Leasing Association. Why is the rate of car theft so high in this country?
Part of it was that the criminals got ahead of the technology. Like, they're better at beating the system than we are at developing systems. And another part is that the inventory went down during the pandemic. Like, the value went up for cars, and so a lot of things came together. And once it started working, they just kept milking it.
It's sort of a supply and demand issue, I guess. Let's follow the money. How is it that criminals are able to funnel the funds from stealing cars into more serious crimes like we outlined?
A lot of it is sort of that trade-based economy thing. Like, if I transfer you $1 million, it's going to show up in the banking system. But if it comes in a lot of bits and pieces, like stolen Range Rovers, it's very, very hard to track, and there isn't really the motivation to track it either. So, I know one former big criminal who used to pay for things in cocaine. Like, it was just better for him than paying in money, and it's the same thing now with stolen cars.
There are stories of cars that have been stolen in Vancouver. They turn up in Montreal. Authorities have found Canadian cars in lots in West Africa. How are criminals able to transport stolen property around the world and do it so quickly?
Container ships. I mean, they just put them in the containers and out they go. And there's not much security, really. We're very tight on things coming into the country. We're not that tight on things going out of the country. We really don't care. And so our whole system is set up to catch people trying to sneak things into Canada. We don't have much on people sneaking things out.
You followed some of this in your reporting, that there are actually criminal gangs from outside of country coming to Canada with the specific purpose of stealing and exporting cars.
Yeah, and that's one thing that really hit me. I thought there'd be competition. Like, usually there, 20 years ago, you'd have people fighting for turf, and you'd have people fighting for who controls the territory. Now there's enough crime for everybody, so it's a sort of a happy hunting ground. They're not fighting with each other because there's enough to steal for everyone.
Wow. Experts saying this has to do with the Canadian theft prevention regulations. So what do regulators need to do to solve this situation, or is it even fixable?
It's fixable, but we need about a half dozen groups to come together. We need an acknowledgement, too, that there are victims. We need to point to why are some cars being stolen and other ones aren't. There are a lot of things. Something could be done, but right now it's a lot of finger pointing, really.
If you are owning a vehicle, especially one in that top 3 list of, what is it, Ford F-150 and Lexus, and is it Range Rover, I think? It's one of those luxury vehicles at the top. You're probably wondering, what do I do?
Yeah, and I mean, what I do is I don't have one of those, so I park next to one of them. Like, twice this week, I've been in parking lots where I park beside those guys, and I figure they're not going to steal 2 from the same spot, so I'm safe.
See, Peter, I knew you'd have the answer to that. It's a simple one and a smart one, too. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.